The writer and director of Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as Superman, is taking on Disney, declaring that they killed Marvel and the movie industry, trying to prop up Disney Plus. No, seriously. We've got the story. We'll bring it to you, as well as the ramifications right now. Hello, folks. It's a dandy of a day, and we thank you for coming our way. We're coming to you from a studio in somewhere sunny USA, and we are so happy to have you. An honor, a pleasure, and a responsibility we take seriously. Folks, as we get ready to dive in, click the like button. And if you like these kinds of scoops and want more of them, Patreon is where you need to go. www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. All right, folks, we've got breaking news. James Gunn is coming out against Disney, and here's what we have. From Variety, Zach Sharf has it. James Gunn says the movie industry is dying because films are made without finished scripts, and Marvel got killed by output increase that wasn't fair. This headline has a lot of words, but I'd like to break it down to you in something that will make perfect sense when we read the article. And listen, Zach, I'm offering. If you need me to write the headlines for you, I'm happy to do so. James Gunn is claiming that Disney Plus killed the movie industry. James Gunn is claiming that Disney Plus killed Marvel and that Marvel was holding up the entire movie industry. That's what's being said here. It's much bigger than the headline indicates. James Gunn is claiming that Disney Plus killed Marvel and the movies. James Gunn has stressed from the minute he took over DC Studios that no superhero movie under his watch would go into production without a completed script. Now, in a new interview with Rolling Stone, the filmmaker attributed the so-called dying film industry to Hollywood's fatal mistake of always making blockbusters before their scripts are officially completed. But why would they do that? Well, let's get into it. He says, I do believe that the reason why the movie industry is dying is not because of people not wanting to see movies. Gunn said, it's not because of home screens getting so good. The number one reason is because people are making movies without a finished screenplay. Gunn noted that DC Studios recently decided not to do all that. I'm not going to read it all. It's fascinating. Folks, go read the Variety article, but I want to get to the spicy stuff. Another thing Gunn said that is working in his favor is there is no corporate mandate from Warner Brothers to churn out a certain number of film and television projects at DC Studios. Gunn is an alum of Marvel, having directed 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies and a Christmas special. And by the way, he was deeply embedded into working on the roadmap for the entire thing. And he noted that Disney's mandate to increase Marvel's output amid the launch of Disney Plus had a negative impact on the larger universe. Disney CEO Bob Iger has openly admitted to making this mistake. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, I think it's a cop-out to some degree. Yes, they probably were forced to put out too much stuff. But getting into politics and ideology is what killed Marvel. But let's read this, because I think what they're trying to suggest right now, and this Superman thing is going to be very interesting, because I think Gunn is going to dabble in modern messaging stuff, okay? What Gunn is attempting to do here, and what Disney may be as well, is to say that it's not the message. It's not the modern message. It's not the woke that made us go broke. We were doing so much of it that we couldn't quality assure the thing, even though Bob Iger was watching them 17 times before they released. He says that wasn't fair, it wasn't right, and it killed them, Gunn said of Marvel. Now, pay close attention to that verbiage. James Gunn doesn't say that it damaged Marvel. He doesn't say that it has put Marvel in a bad place. He doesn't say that Marvel's going to have a hard time recovering. James Gunn says of his former employer that the mandate to make stuff for Disney Plus killed Marvel, killed them. He says, we don't have the mandate at DC to have a certain amount of movies and TV shows every year, so we're going to put out everything that we think is of the highest quality. We're obviously going to do some good things and some not so good things, but hopefully on average, everything will be as high quality as possible. Nothing goes before there's a screenplay that I am personally happy with. All right. Now, this rest of the stuff, he's talking about, Batman and Superman and yada, yada, yada. Bottom line is, James Gunn is claiming that the call for content on Disney Plus is what killed Marvel. And furthermore, killing Marvel killed the movie industry, because the movie industry is held up by the superhero genre for the past 10 years. And I think to some degree he's right. And I'm not sure about the argument of it's not the woke message, but rather it's the fact that they didn't have time to bake that. Now, the only thing I'm going to make of that in terms of pushing back is they've had plenty of time to work on things like Ironheart, And it is still going to absolutely put audiences in the dark, turn the TVs off, walk away, get out of the house, go play outside, don't watch Ironheart. So I'm not sure that this is a time issue. I'm not sure about that. Culture, what say you when James Gunn says that the call for content on Disney Plus is what killed Marvel? And if that is the case, Culture, it has to be placed on Bob Iger. There's no other way to say this than to say that Bob Iger killed the golden goose for Disney.
Well, I mean, his conclusion is accurate. Bob Iger and his politics and his toxic culture in his corporation, which is absolutely inundated in this poison that's swimming in it. But he's, as you already said, the things that are killing him or killing films are the combination of both of those things. I mean, we've reported on multiple film projects, including the new Doom series, that they started shooting without a script. They started shooting without a script with Captain America: Brave New World, and that was fairly evident. But they've been doing that for quite some period of time. And Scarlett Johansson has commented on frustrations being on the set and many other things related to the Marvel films being difficult to be a part of. But I can't imagine going into a shot and being given lines right before I'm going to be doing it. That's not the way to go about it. That's why there's so much ad lib, perhaps, from the really talented people in a lot of the early films, although I do believe most of those had completed scripts. I think that going into a film without just exactly what you plan to do is a plan for a disaster, and that's basically been Iger. So let's take a step back from that and just say that's one of the culprits. The other culprit is the politics. The politics are continuing to be rejected because, well, the latest films that have had them in them have failed, and people are avoiding films now. And Ballerina is the example that I'm going to use right now. That they have a perception that this could be a girl boss movie or full of a bunch of politics. Which
has there ever been a worse name for a masculine film than Ballerina, Culture?
I think that they should have named it something different, like a revenge story at the end, Ballerina, something like a revenge story or something. But I think that
probably should have just changed it to Hot Ballerina. I mean, honestly.
Well, I mean, Barbed Wire kind of still has an
pirouette of punishment.
Yeah, that's true. That actually would have been a great, after the colon. Title ad. Regardless, I just believe
of pain.
There you go.
All right, we're gonna do ballerina puns for the rest of the show now. Thank you, Culture.
There we go. But I just believe that in addition to the title, the audience's perception going into these films, especially things that are fantastical, because there's no way to deny that the John Wick films are fantastical, and they live in their own world. That the superhero films are fantastical, and you have to be motivated to go see them. Has anybody been motivated to go see a Disney related film at any time? This is why Gunn's argument is so resonant to me. It's that there's nothing Disney provides now that allows you to escape in any way, and that's the danger of putting the politics into whatever it is you produce.
I'm up for discussing that. Panel, what do you think about what Culture's had to say?
I think the politics are obviously an issue, and this is a little bit of James Gunn both throwing his old employer under the bus, but also giving them a little bit of an excuse here, because James Gunn didn't have a quality problem. He started on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 the weekend that Guardians of the Galaxy came into theaters. So I think there's also a talent issue over there, and that issue is obviously stemming mostly from Kevin Feige. You bring up the what's the word? It's like they're giant indie films where they're just trying to get through it. Iron Man was heavily workshopped on set. That's been something that's been well documented in the press when Jeff Bridges and Robert Downey Jr. talk about it. And I think that whatever it was with Iron Man, they said, okay, well, we can keep doing that over and over again. When you have geniuses at the helm, you can do things like that when you have Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. To bring up Pixar again, you can have them say, we're going to redo this film over and over again until we get it right. When you have John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, Lee Unkrich, guys like that. But now Marvel has producers who are sure that their way is right, and they are casting directors instead of giving them a production and saying, go make a great movie. I still don't understand why Ryan Coogler is there at Marvel when he seems to be doing fantastic when he is outside of Marvel's process. I think it's this is something where they are so sure that they're going to be successful that they are willing to take unthinkable risks, like doing an Ironheart TV series, which I'm sure cost many hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you what I think helps James Gunn a lot? It's the casting. The man is phenomenal at casting. Michelle over at Force of Light has posted, how much she's enjoying. I think it's pronounced Rachel Brosnahan.
Yes,
and the corn sweat guy who's playing Superman. Man, that guy is phenomenal as well. But listen, James Gunn is great at quirky humor. He is also top notch at picking the perfect cast for his movie. That may be the secret sauce of what he does.
Yeah, I have been a big supporter of her as Lois Lane since this was announced. I love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the show on Amazon Prime, which she starred in. I think she's going to be great. And I think in every trailer, she's kind of embodied Lois Lane. I think that James Gunn, I mean, look, obviously he's not going to talk about the political issues that Marvel has. So of the issues that James Gunn would feasibly speak about for Marvel, yeah, I would say that the volume is probably a problem. I think DC has a problem too, though, going into this movie, and that is James Gunn. There's too much James Gunn. Take it from someone who covers the entertainment news for a living. There's too much James Gunn in the news right now. Corn Sweat, Brosnahan, they're not the ones out front and center for this. This is James Gunn's Superman, presented by James Gunn and directed by James Gunn as part of James Gunn's DC universe.
Marvin, you're exactly right. You're listen. I've got to back you up 1,000%. They should be these two stars should be the stars of the PR campaign.
Did you see the video of Corn Sweat on the set, like with the kids that are like working as extras in it, and he's like talking to the kids and he's acting like Superman basically, and like just being so nice and so gracious to all of these kids who are just excited that they're around Superman on the set. I'm like, more of that, less of this guy railing against everyone and all of his perceived enemies. That's all that this buildup has just been James Gunn yells at people on threads. James Gunn responds to every single rumor. James Gunn responds to Snyderverse fans. Like, it's just nonstop James Gunn. And the movie is just so injected with him. Yes, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, it's perfect. He embodies the role. We saw him when he was doing the trench run from Star Wars. This guy should be the centerpiece of everything that you're doing. He's so personable, he's so likable, and James Gunn is not likable in any way, shape, or form.
Oh man,
I kind of like James Gunn.
No, I have been covering this guy now for months with this movie, and I am at my wit's end. I've hit my James Gunn limit, and I still have like 5 more James Gunn articles to write this week.
Here's the thing. I think that there's probably somebody that early on said to them, "Okay, what are we going to do about the Zack Snyder situation?" And I was there back in the day. And I remember what it was like trying to find the good when hearing about, oh, we're going to murder Jimmy Olsen and we're going to do this and that. And they get a perfect casting with Henry Cavill as Superman, and they turn him into this dour. I get it. I get it. There are fans of Man of Steel, but I am not one of them. I am so glad to not have Zack Snyder's name come up over and over again. And I like James Gunn. I think that in the same way that, Joss Whedon did write good dialogue, but other people trying to do Joss Whedon was the end of Joss Whedon being charming as a writer, not as a human being. So I would like for this movie to come out so we can find out whether or not it's good. So.
Yes, 100%. Now, I wrote an editorial on That Park Place over the weekend called "Why the World Needs Superman, but Why Superman Doesn't Need James Gunn." And the point that I make in that article is that for the last 20 years, Superman has been defined by the men who direct him in his movies, from Bryan Singer to Zack Snyder to James Gunn. The movies are centered around the directors, and that's the problem. We didn't go into Captain America, the First Avenger, and be like, let's see Joe Johnston's Captain America. Like, there's none of that. You just saw Captain America. Superman has not been allowed to stand on his own in 20 years because he's just constantly this vehicle for the egos of these madman directors.
Marvin, are you saying that the directors are now Superman's kryptonite?
I'm saying they think that they are Superman.
That's even worse. Look,
I mean, that's fair enough.
There is another name that we haven't brought up in this discussion, and I think it's an important one to the discussion, and that's Ike Perlmutter. And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't think James Gunn mentioned that, but Ike Perlmutter is somebody who helped rein in what was going on at Marvel back in the 2010s. And I really think that it helped the MCU along. As soon as he was out, and he was technically out before he was out because he was kind of removed from the whole discussion of the MCU somewhere around the year 2015, 16, 17. And his input, started to wane, and then he's had no input whatsoever in anything that's gone on since Thanos, basically. And without a clear voice, possibly from a different side ideologically wise, reining things in, they have no clue what they're doing. It's dangerous anytime that happens from one direction or the other. And you need a diversity of thought processes, not a diversity on the surface, but a diversity of what's going on in here to help people write great stories. And it doesn't matter the amount of output. Sure, the amount of output can be affected if you're like, oh my gosh, I got this deadline and that and the other. There's a lot of pressure on that. But if you're focused in on great writing, you can put out more, and it doesn't really matter. I think the ideology has hurt them. And if James Gunn is putting that same type of ideology into the DC projects, it's going to hurt him there as well. So it's not really going to matter.
By the way, folks, official polling from That Poll Place. Yeah, we made that up. But no, official polling of the audience out there. 86% say that James Gunn is right, that Marvel is actually dead. Only 13% disagree. Now, we can come to different conclusions about what killed it. But dead, it appears to be like a doornail. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Folks, we'll come back, though, when we need to find out, can Marvel resurrect itself? Probably not with Pedro. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream, so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah.
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.